Ever heard of the boogeyman? Yeah, that guy. Well, in the super secret, super deadly world of assassins, John Wick was Boogeyman, or as they like to call him in hushed, terrified whispers, Baba Yaga. Not the guy you sent to kill the boogeyman. He was the guy you sent to kill the boogeyman's scary older brother and his entire monster family. John wasn't just good at his job, he was a legend. A force of nature wrapped in a very sharp suit. If he was coming for you, you might as well just write your will, say your goodbyes, and maybe prepay for the really big cleanup crew you'd inevitably need. He was that efficient, that unstoppable, a true master of his lethal craft. But even boogeymen have hearts, apparently. Or at least John Wick did. He found Helen. And just like that, the Baba Yaga decided to hang up his collection of very pointy things. For Helen, he walked away from it all. The killing, the gold coins, the whole shadowy underground society. He performed what they called the impossible task, a legendary feat that basically earned him his retirement papers from a life most people didn't even know existed. He traded bullets for bliss, contracts for companionship. He wanted a normal life, a quiet life, with the woman who had shown him that life could be more than just shadows and whispers. It was a huge deal, like Hades deciding to take a permanent vacation in a sunny meadow. Their life together was everything he'd never thought he could have. It was peaceful. It was real. Helen was his anchor, his lighthouse in a storm he hadn't even realized he was caught in until she pulled him out. For 5 years they built a world away from the gunfire and the screams. Imagine that. 5 whole years of normalcy for a man who used to dine with danger and dance with death. He learned to smile again, genuinely. He learned what it felt like to wake up without the taste of blood or gunpowder in his mouth, metaphorically speaking, of course. He was happy, truly, deeply happy, which in stories like this, usually means something terrible is about to happen. And then, because life can be incredibly cruel, Helen got sick. The kind of sick that doctors can't fix, no matter how many fancy machines they have or how many big words they use. John, the man who could face down an army without flinching, was helpless. He watched the love of his life fade, and there wasn't a single target he could eliminate to make it stop. There were no bad guys to punish, no contracts to fulfill that could change this outcome. It was a different kind of battle, one fought in sterile hospital rooms and quiet nights filled with worry, and it was a battle he was destined to lose. The Baba Yaga, the man of focus, commitment, and sheer will, could only hold her hand. Losing Helen shattered John, absolutely crumbled him. Imagine your favorite thing in the whole world, the one thing that makes sense, just vanishing. That was John. The vibrant world he'd built with Helen turned gray, muted by grief. The beautiful house they shared suddenly felt enormous, echoing with silence and memories. He was adrift, a ship without a rudder in an ocean of sorrow. Every corner held a ghost, a reminder of what he'd lost. The man who had once orchestrated symphonies of destruction was now undone by the quiet absence of a single heartbeat next to his. He was, to put it mildly, not doing okay, not even close. Then, a little while after the funeral, a delivery arrives. A crate. John, probably expecting more sympathy cards or something equally painful, opens it. And out hops the cutest, most adorable beagle puppy you've ever seen. Seriously, this puppy was like a walking, wagging bundle of pure, unadulterated sunshine. Her name, according to the note, was Daisy, and the note was from Helen. She'd arranged it all before she passed, a final gift, a way for John to have something to care for, something to help him navigate the crushing weight of his grief. Helen knew him, knew he needed a purpose, even a small one. She was still looking out for him, even from beyond. Daisy was more than just a puppy, she was a lifeline, a tiny, furry, four-legged reason to get out of bed in the morning. John, the man who used to plan intricate takedowns, now found himself planning puppy meal times and walks in the park. He was awkward at first, this legendary killer fumbling with a leash and a chew toy. But Daisy, with her innocent eyes and boundless enthusiasm for, well, everything, started to chip away at the ice forming around his heart. She didn't care about his past. She just cared about belly rubs and chasing her tail. She was a warm, breathing presence in a house that had become far too cold and empty. Slowly, very slowly, a flicker of something other than pain began to stir within John. Daisy would nudge his hand for attention, her tail thumping a happy rhythm against the floor. He'd find himself talking to her, quiet murmurs at first, then actual conversations. She'd curl up beside him, a comforting weight, a reminder that life, in some small way, went on. She wasn't Helen, nothing could ever replace Helen, but she was a connection, a responsibility, a tiny, yipping, tail-wagging symbol that maybe, just maybe, there could be a path forward, even if he couldn't see it clearly yet. Daisy was hope in its most adorable, floppy-eared form. So, John's trying to find his new normal, right? A normal that includes puppy food and early morning walks. One night he takes his prized possession, a ridiculously cool 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1, out for a drive. This isn't just any car, it's a beauty, a classic, probably filled with memories of better times, maybe even drives with Helen. He stops for gas, minding his own business, just a guy and his awesome car. Daisy's not with him this time, probably safe at home, dreaming puppy dreams. He's quiet, keeping to himself, just trying to get through another day without the gaping hole in his life swallowing him whole. Then, a group of young troublemakers rolls up. You know the type. Loud music, arrogant smirks, and an air about them that just screams we're about to do something stupid. They're speaking Russian, and their leader, a particularly slimy-looking guy with more confidence than sense, takes an immediate liking to John's Mustang. He saunters over all swagger and starts talking about the car, his eyes practically drooling over the paintwork. He even has the audacity to ask John how much he wants for it, as if it's just casually for sale at a gas station. It's clear this guy is used to getting what he wants. John, ever the master of understatement and probably not in the mood for small talk with entitled jerks, politely declines. "She's not for sale," he says, his voice calm but firm. You'd think that would be the end of it. A simple, straightforward answer. But no, this Iosef character, because that's his name, Iosef Tarasov, remember it, it's important, doesn't like being told no. He presses, trying to act tough, maybe show off to his buddies. John, however, isn't impressed. He just gives him that look, look. The one that says, dude, you are really, really close to making a life-altering mistake right now. Iosef's goons try to intimidate John, making some snide remarks in Russian, probably thinking he doesn't understand. Big mistake. John replies in perfect Russian, something cool and dismissive, which clearly rattles them. They weren't expecting the quiet guy at the gas pump to be multilingual, let alone sound like he could dismantle them with a stern word. Iosef, momentarily thrown but still arrogant, makes a final, sneering comment about the dog in John's life, calling Daisy just a dog before driving off with his crew. John, though visibly annoyed, lets it go. For now. He just wants to go home to his puppy, if only they'd left it at that. Later that same night, John is at home. Daisy is there, being her usual adorable self, probably curled up nearby. The house is quiet, too quiet as it turns out, because Iosef and his idiotic crew, high on their own stupidity and still stewing over the Mustang, decide to pay John an uninvited visit. They break in, masked and armed, thinking they're tough. They're about to commit a home invasion, targeting a man whose previous home invasions usually involved him being the one doing the invading, and always with a much higher body count on the other side. These guys clearly didn't do their homework, or any homework, ever, by the looks of it. They attack John. He's taken by surprise, outnumbered, and importantly, he's out of practice. He's been living a civilian life. He fights back, of course, because he's still John Wick, even rusty. But they manage to subdue him, knocking him unconscious. These thugs, high on their momentary victory, ransack the place a bit. They still want the car. But Iosef, in an act of supreme, unforgivable cruelty, does something truly monstrous. He sees Daisy, little innocent Daisy, barking at the intruders, trying to protect her human. And Iosef, that worthless piece of garbage, kills her, just like that. For no reason other than pure, petty malice. When John comes to, the first thing he sees, the first thing that registers through the fog of pain and confusion, is Daisy. Lifeless, his last gift from Helen, the tiny beacon of hope that had been pulling him back from the brink, gone, taken from him violently, senselessly. It's a devastating moment, more than devastating. It's the kind of moment that shatters whatever fragile piece he'd managed to find. The car, they stole that too, keys and all, but the car, as awesome as it was just metal and paint. Daisy was different. She was warmth, she was connection, she was Helen's final wish for him, and in that moment, something inside John Wick snaps, or rather, something reawakens. The grief for Helen, raw and overwhelming, now has a new, sharper edge, rage. Pure, unadulterated, all-consuming rage. These thugs didn't just steal his car and kill his dog, they took away the last piece of solace he had. They desecrated the memory of his wife. they poked the Baba Yaga with a stick, a very, very big, stupid stick. And now, the boogeyman was awake, and he was very, very angry. The world was about to remember why they feared his name. The monster they thought was gone, or perhaps just a story, was back. The first thing John does isn't to scream or cry, though you know he's feeling all of that and more. No, John Wick is a man of action. He goes to his basement. And not just any basement. This basement is a concrete tomb of his past life, with a sledgehammer. Because subtlety is for people who haven't just had their puppy murdered, he smashes through the concrete floor. Beneath it, his arsenal. His tools of the trade. Guns, lots of guns. And gold coins. Special gold coins that aren't for buying groceries, let me tell you. These are the currency of the underworld, used for services rendered, favors, and access to places you really don't want to know about. He unearths this buried treasure, this Pandora's box of his former self. Each weapon he handles, each coin he touches, is like shedding a layer of the civilian skin he'd worn for 5 years. The grief is still there, a burning inferno, but now it's fueling something else. Purpose. A terrible, singular purpose. He's not just John, the grieving widower anymore. He's John Wick, the legendary hitman back from retirement, and he has a list. A very short list, with one name at the top, Iosef Tarasov. The calm, methodical precision is returning, the muscle memory of a life he thought he'd left behind. It's a chilling transformation to witness. His first call isn't to the police. Oh no, the police can't help where John is going. He calls Aurelio, a chop shop owner who deals with specialized vehicles. John wants to know who he sold his Mustang to. Aurelio, upon hearing what happened, especially about Daisy, and then realizing whose son Iosef is, basically has a panic attack on the phone. See, Iosef's father is Vigo Tarasov, the head of the Russian mob in New York City, a very big, very bad dude. Aurelio knows who John Wick is. Everyone in their world knows. And he knows Vigo just signed his son's death warrant, and probably his own too. Aurelio tells John everything. Vigo, when he finds out his idiot son stole John Wick's car and killed his dog, is not happy. That's the understatement of the century. Vigo actually punches Iosef, explaining in rather colorful terms that John isn't just any retired assassin. He's the one they called Baba Yaga. Vigo recounts John's legend, how he once killed 3 men in a bar with a pencil. A freaking pencil. Vigo knows he's in deep, deep trouble. He tries to smooth things over, calling John, offering apologies, trying to negotiate. But John just hangs up. There's no negotiation. There's only retribution. The fuse has been lit. Section 6. Taking down the house of Tarasov, one brick at a time. Vigo, realizing that apologies won't cut it with the Baba Yaga, does the only thing a panicked crime boss can do. He puts a massive bounty on John's head. $2 million. He figures, hey, maybe some other ambitious assassin can take John out before John dismantles his entire empire. Bad call, Vigo. Really bad call. This just turns New York City into a hunting ground, with John as both the hunter and the most dangerous prey. But John isn't worried about a few wannabe killers. He's got a mission, and he's methodical. He starts by targeting Vigo's operations, aiming to hit him where it hurts, his money and his power. His first major act of surgical destruction is at a nightclub, the Red Circle, one of Vigo's fronts. John isn't there to dance. He moves through the club like a ghost, a whisper of death in a tailored suit, dispatching security guards with brutal efficiency. He's looking for Iosef, who's predictably partying, oblivious to the storm about to break over his head. The fight scenes are insane. John uses everything, guns, knives, his bare hands, turning everyday objects into weapons. He's a whirlwind of controlled violence, each movement precise, economical, and deadly. He's not just fighting, he's making a statement. A very loud, very bloody statement. Though Iosef manages to escape the Red Circle, thanks to a lot of luck, and John being momentarily distracted by other assassins trying to claim the bounty, John has made his point. He's back, and he's not messing around. Next, he targets Vigo's hidden stash. Every crime lord has one, right? A secret vault where they keep their ill-gotten gains, their leverage, their dirty secrets. Vigo's is hidden in, of all places, a church. John, with information from his old contacts, finds it. And he doesn't just steal the money. Oh no, that would be too simple. He burns it. All of it. Years of Vigo's power, his influence going up in smoke. This act cripples Vigo. It's not just about the financial loss, it's about the message it sends to the entire underworld. John Wick is systematically dismantling Vigo Tarasov's empire piece by piece with an almost serene focus. He's not just seeking revenge for Daisy or for the piece that was stolen from him. He's erasing Vigo's legacy, showing everyone that no one, no matter how powerful, is safe if they cross the Baba Yaga. Each bullet fired, each enemy neutralized, is a step closer to Iosef, but also a step deeper back into the world he tried so desperately to leave behind. It's a dark path, but it's the only one he knows now. Section 7 Sanctuary and Rules, or Why You Don't Do Business on Hallowed Ground. Now, in this crazy world of assassins and secret societies, there are rules. You can't just go around whacking people willy-nilly wherever you please. Well, you can, but there are certain places where you absolutely positively cannot. The most important of these is the Continental Hotel. Think of it as a 5-star, super-exclusive club for hitmen and women. It's neutral territory, a sanctuary. No business can be conducted on Continental grounds. That means no fighting, no killing, no contract fulfillments. Break that rule and you face severe consequences, like everyone in this hotel now has a license to kill you, kind of severe. Plus you get excommunicado, which is a fancy way of saying you're toast. John, needing a place to rest, patch himself up and gather information, checks into the New York Continental. He's a familiar face there, though one they probably hoped they wouldn't see again in a professional capacity. The manager, Winston, is an old acquaintance. He's elegant, enigmatic, and runs the Continental with an iron fist and a velvet glove. He knows John's story, knows why he's back. Winston reminds John of the rules, a gentle but firm warning. Even for John Wick, the rules apply. The Continental is sacred ground, a pillar of their shadowy society, and its neutrality is paramount. It's the one place where enemies can stand side by side without trying to kill each other. Usually. The Continental isn't just a safe haven, it's also a hub. Need specialized gear? A doctor who won't ask questions about bullet holes, information on a target? The Continental's concierge can arrange it all, for the right price. Those gold coins come in handy here. John uses these services. He gets stitched up, gets new suits because looking sharp while on a revenge spree is important apparently, and learns more about Iosef's whereabouts. It's a fascinating glimpse into the intricate infrastructure that supports this hidden world. It has its own economy, its own etiquette, its own code of conduct. It's bizarrely civilized for a bunch of professional killers. However, the rules get tested. Miss Perkins, another assassin, greedy for Vigo's bounty, decides to break them. She attacks John in his room at the Continental. Big mistake. Huge. Not only does John manage to fight her off, because, well, he's John Wick, but her actions have serious repercussions. Winston, upholding the sanctity of his establishment, has Miss Perkins executed for conducting business on Continental grounds. This sends a clear message to everyone. The rules are not suggestions, they are absolute. This reinforces the order within the chaos, the strange honor among thieves and killers that defines their world. Even in a quest for vengeance, some lines cannot be crossed. Section 8. A son's reckoning and a father's desperation. Despite the chaos and the growing pile of defeated henchmen, John Wick's focus remains laser-sharp. Iosef Tarasov, the little punk who started all this, the one who killed Daisy. John is like a heat-seeking missile, and Iosef is the target emitting a very loud, very obnoxious beep. Vigo, seeing his empire crumble and realizing his son is basically a dead man walking, tries to protect Iosef. He sends him to a secure location, a safe house surrounded by yet more guards. You'd think by now Vigo would realize that more guards just means more targets for John Wick, but desperate fathers do desperate things. John, with information likely gleaned from his network or by beating it out of someone, it's all very efficient, tracks Iosef to this supposed safe house. What follows is another masterclass in mayhem. John infiltrates the location, turning it into his personal shooting gallery. The guards, no matter how numerous or heavily armed, are simply no match for the Baba Yaga in full revenge mode. He moves with a deadly grace, a relentless force that cannot be stopped or reasoned with. He is the personification of Nemesis, the Greek goddess of retribution. And retribution is exactly what he's there to deliver, one bullet at a time. Finally, John corners Iosef. The arrogant, sneering thug from the gas station is now a whimpering, terrified mess. There's no bravado left, no cocky attitude, just pure, unadulterated fear. He knows who John is now. He knows what John is capable of. He probably regrets every single one of his life choices leading up to this moment, especially the one involving a beagle puppy. John doesn't say much. He doesn't need to. His eyes, filled with cold fury and profound loss, say it all. This isn't about a car anymore. This is about Daisy. This is about Helen. This is about the peace that Iosef so casually shattered, and then, it's over. John delivers the justice he came for. Iosef Tarasov pays the ultimate price for his actions. It's swift, brutal, and undeniably final. There's no satisfaction for John in this, no joy. Just the grim completion of a task. Killing Iosef doesn't bring Daisy back, it doesn't heal the wound left by Helen's death. But it's a debt paid, a wrong righted in the only way John knows how. With Iosef gone, one part of his roaring inferno of rage might quiet down a little. But the main source of his troubles, Vigo, is still out there. The father must now answer for the sins of the son and for his own. Section 9. The Last Dance with the Devil, and a New Leash on Life. With Iosef dead, Vigo Tarasov is beyond furious. He's also terrified. He's lost his son, his empire is in ruins, and John Wick is still breathing. Vigo knows this isn't over. John won't stop until all threats are neutralized. So, Vigo decides to force a final confrontation. He arranges a meeting, a showdown. It's personal now, more than it ever was. It's a battle between two titans of the underworld. One fighting for a past he can't reclaim, the other fighting for a future he just destroyed. The stage is set for a climactic battle, rain-soaked and dramatic because of course it is. This is John Wick after all. The final fight between John and Vigo is brutal. It's not just guns, it's knives, fists, anything they can get their hands on. It's raw, desperate, and incredibly violent. Vigo, for all his faults, is a survivor. He's a crime boss for a reason. He fights dirty. He taunts John, trying to get under his skin. But John is fueled by something deeper than just anger now. It's a grim determination, a need to close this bloody chapter of his life. He takes a beating, gives one back, and ultimately, through sheer will and superior skill, and maybe a well-placed knife, he defeats Vigo. The reign of Tarasov is officially over, but John is badly injured. He's bleeding, exhausted, and has pushed himself to the absolute limit. He stumbles into a nearby animal clinic, one of those emergency vet places that are open late. He's not there for himself, not really. He patches himself up as best he can, using supplies he finds there. He's alone again, the adrenaline fading, leaving him with the familiar ache of loss and the emptiness of vengeance fulfilled. The silence is probably deafening. Has anything really changed? Has any of this brought him peace? Probably not the peace he once knew with Helen. Then he hears a whimper. In one of the cages, scheduled to be euthanized, is a pit bull puppy, scared, abandoned, but with hopeful eyes. John looks at the puppy. The puppy looks at John. And in that moment, something clicks. Maybe it's a flicker of that hope Daisy brought him. Maybe it's a recognition of a kindred spirit, another soul in need of saving. He makes a decision. He takes the puppy. He just picks it up, grabs a leash, and walks out into the dawn. John Wick, the Baba Yaga, the legendary assassin, walks away from the carnage, not with a gun, but with a new, unnamed puppy by his side. A new, fragile beginning, a new leash on life, quite literally.